and welcome back to the Kristan Hawkins Show, and Happy New Year. For the very last episode of the year, I'm going to be recapping 2024 for the pro-life generation. Obviously, the biggest news was the election. And it was a toss-up for when a lot of people were asking what was going on and what was going to be the outcome. We knew we worked hard and we knew we should see victory, but it still was I think a surprise to many people within the pro-life movement, because all of the polls from last time, all of the negative media attention, none of us were really sure how it was going to go. But I will say this, no one was more surprised than the pro-abortion lobby, their politicians and their supporters, who I think, to be honest, are still dealing with the shock. After all, they outspent us by hundreds of millions of dollars, and we never had Beyonce, Eminem, or Taylor Swift stumping for us or putting up Insta posts. But when you look at all that the pro-life gen did this year, how could we have been surprised by the results? I mean, we were amazing. So before I dive into this review, I need to pause and say thank you to all of you who recognize that the Dobbs decision, that the end of Roe versus Wade was not the end of the pro-life movement or our fight. Because you were committed to the long haul to this movement, you continue to make it strong, and you made this victory possible. And trust me, your effort, your involvement has never been needed more than ever. We are in the midst of a chemical abortion crisis, which is on par with the fentanyl crisis America faces. And we have just begun, really, our battle to defund Planned Parenthood, the nation's largest abortion vendor, which now we have seen real momentum shift towards that direction. So there's a lot we must do in 2025. I'm not going to be bossy today. Today is about fun. You'll see my puppies in the video, and we're going to talk about all the amazing things you, the pro-life gen, made possible this year. To kick off 2024, Students for Life of America hosted the largest pro-life conference in the world, again, the National Pro-Life Summit, where over 1,800 pro-life students, leaders, advocates joined together at a sold-out event to get trained and change minds in this new year. Then in June, we brought the pro-life generation together again for National Celebrate Weekend, alongside our friends at 40 Days for Life, and then there were None, Sidewalk Advocates, and Pro-Life Partners Foundation. We held a rally, the Lincoln Memorial, it was really hot, a gala with Matt Walsh, and a conference that celebrated the anniversary of Roe v. Wade's reversal and provided a mid-year training boost to pro-life advocates of all ages. At the same time, because nothing can ever be calm at the pro-life generation, we launched our largest mind change marketing campaign ever, Almost Aborted. If you haven't seen it, you are truly missing out. The campaign kicked off in Times Square with video billboards, with several of the brave men and women we featured in the billboards speaking live at a press conference right beneath it. We had folks with personal testimonies ranging from being coerced to abort their babies, but rose above the pressure, to those who survived an actual abortion themselves as infants. Between social media and billboards in 5 key ballot referendum states, the campaign saw at least 26.7 million Americans saw our messaging.
I was almost aborted.
I was conceived in rape.
I survived an abortion.
I was pressured to take the abortion pill.
I found myself holding a positive pregnancy test after being raped by a relative of a friend of mine.
Doctors told us that faith was incompatible with life.
We were told by many that the best option was to terminate the pregnancy.
My birth mother had an abortion in her first trimester of pregnancy. 3 months later, she found out that my abortion had failed, and she was still pregnant with me.
While she was pregnant with me, she tried to get an abortion twice.
My medical issues stemmed from being born alive during a botched abortion.
Planned Parenthood did not allow me to see my ultrasound or hear the heartbeat. I took the first pill and I just couldn't live with myself.
The lady from Planned Parenthood repeated again, we can take care of this problem and no one would ever have to know.
The geneticist actually told us that our disabled daughter would ruin our marriage.
There's nothing that quite describes holding the pain that your birth mother didn't want you.
When the procedure ended, my birth mother ran out, abandoning myself and my 2-year-old brother.
Despite initially choosing abortion, my mother went on to carry me to term and placed me with an adoptive family.
Abortion hurts women, hurts babies, and is not healthcare.
The woman from Planned Parenthood left me feeling hopeless, but the woman from the pregnancy center left me feeling hopeful. I chose life that day.
Choice was never an option. Every life is precious. Faith deserved a chance to live and thrive regardless of her disabilities.
This is my story, and I can't change it. I can reach out to women in need and save a life in the womb. I will continue to speak out.
I was almost aborted, but I am worthy, loved, and valuable, and so are you.
That's amazing. And you can see all of the videos if you go to almostaborted.life. And please keep sharing them around. We know life-changing stories have a tremendous impact in changing the minds of people we talk about to abortion about. Next, our team at the Pro-Life Generation Students for Life hit huge milestones that I want to highlight this year, exceeding over 220,000 student leaders trained. 1,500 active Students for Life groups are out there in every state across the country that we now have the honor to serve. And just the campus tour videos of me on campus, it's kind of shocking, we're seen more than 240 million times. It's hard to even say with a straight face sometimes. Here's our largest performing campus tour videos of 2024.
My daughter's name is Clementine. She was 5 months along when she was aborted. My daughter was healthy. I begged her mother not to go through with the abortion. She was confused and she regrets it now. My daughter was 5 months and she was ripped apart. My daughter doesn't get a funeral. This has been a month and 3 days. I have her sonogram picture the first time I heard her heartbeat, and I bring this up to people and I say, well, she had a heartbeat. Wasn't she a person? And I'm being told she's a fetus, which, by the way, everybody, that's Latin for offspring. So I don't know why we're speaking Latin. I speak English. I'm told by my friends, I'm crying over somebody I never met before. Why isn't my daughter human enough for people to care? Why isn't my daughter woman enough for her to have a body and for her to have a choice? My daughter was going to be beautiful. As a father, I'm just supposed to forget. I'm just supposed to move on. I don't know who did this to my daughter. I wish I could ask him, was my daughter beautiful? My daughter matters. She is loved, and I hope that everybody can keep her memory alive too. Thank you.
Well, your daughter is beautiful. To answer your question bluntly as to why didn't Clementine matter enough? The answer is people don't want her to matter because they don't want to have to accept responsibility for their actions. They want to dehumanize. They want to use words like fetus or embryo or zygote to separate the child in the womb from us, persons outside the womb. But Clementine is beautiful, so we already know that answer to that question. We're going to call the abortion facility and I'm going to tell them I'm pregnant with a 32-week fetus, as you say. Hi, I just turned 32 weeks pregnant. Am I able to come in for an abortion ASAP?
I wouldn't be able to see you for the week of the 23rd, so that would put you at 34 weeks.
Can I still have an abortion at 34 weeks?
Yes, ma'am. I just have to do an intake form. Do you have about 5 minutes?
Sure, I have 5 minutes. Yeah, I just found out that she could have Down syndrome. I can still have the abortion, right, even though she has Down syndrome?
Yeah, so we just have to do an intake because the doctor...
It doesn't fucking matter.
That's late-term abortion, ma'am. That's abortion in the 8th month of pregnancy. That's discriminatory based on someone's genetic code. She just confirmed she would commit an abortion on me with my child who's viable and can live outside the womb.
I'm a triplet, actually.
You're a triplet?
Yeah, so I was born at 27 weeks, my sisters and I. She had the option to abort the third baby, which was me, in order to keep the lives of my 2 sisters. And she's like, if it's the Lord's will for him to live, he's going to live. And if not, that's up to God. Thankfully, she chose not to, and that's why I don't support either. So
you just made like the most beautiful pro-life commercial ever.
I'm a triplet as well.
You're a triplet too? What's going on in Birmingham? 2 triplets right here. Statistically, how does that happen?
My mom had the option of aborting us or saving her own life. She chose to have us. And so my mom was sick for a while. I was also sick, but I'm pulled through. I'm here. We were born early, 3 months early, so we were little babies.
How was your mom?
My mom's fine. She's like thriving. Like, she's dope. And so I also don't agree with abortion because of that, and also just like my faith. I'm a Christian.
So Brandon and Clay, both triplets.
We met through mutual
You're like,
friend.
you should
we're
have
both
a
triplets.
t-shirt. We're like, we're triplets.
Yeah.
And see how long people were like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe not the same
you
mom.
can't see the resemblance.
I love it.
Now, shifting gears a bit, Students for Life Action volunteers worked overtime this summer and this fall to educate voters to vote no on late-term abortion ballot referendums, as well as vote pro-life first in state and federal races. On election night, we celebrated the failures of 3 radical late-term abortion measures in Florida, Nebraska, and South Dakota. Woohoo! It was a big deal. These victories will save thousands of preborn lives. We also saw more wins. Dr. Bob Onder is now heading to the U.S. Congress from Missouri. He is an alumni of Students for Life, and 2 other alumni of Students for Life won their state legislative races in New Hampshire and Kentucky. Can't wait to see them introduce legislation. Hint, hint. Plus, 3 GOP senators in the state of South Carolina who killed our Life at Conception Act in spring of 2023, they were defeated when pro-life students headed to the Palmetto State in June, educated their voters, their constituents about the betrayal, and they lost their primary races. On election night, those 3 GOP senators were replaced by 3 new GOP senators who are 100% pro-life and committed to finally ending all abortions in South Carolina in 2025. Overall, more than 450 Students for Life Action volunteers and student leaders participated in 30 deployment weekends to knock on more than 100,000 doors in primary and election battles this year. We also visited 54 campuses with our abortion on the ballot display, changing 11% of students' minds when we talked to them about the late-term abortion ballots referendums. We reached an additional 1.4 million students on those campuses with flyering. Plus, our Stop Abortion Extremism video billboard truck made 27 tour stops in 9 key states. And our Kamala Harris Hearts and Fanticide commercial was seen during prime time on Fox News for 3 weeks and aired during the only vice presidential debate on Fox, with an estimated 250 million viewers. Plus, we had some fun along the way. We played Where's Waldo with Kamala Harris on her campus reproductive justice tour to protest 10 of her tour stops, ensuring the pro-life message was always heard loud and clear. Next, our pregnancy support initiative, Standing With You, which serves parents and empowers young parents, these parents, to choose life every year. Next, our pregnancy support initiative, Standing With You, which serves young parents and empowers them to choose life every year. We had a special call placed on us this year when Hurricanes Helene and Milton devastated the Southeast. In the wake of the destruction, we responded to the call. Well, you responded to the call in North Carolina and Florida, raising nearly $42,500 for pregnancy centers that were impacted and flooded by the hurricane. We even drove the resources directly to North Carolina. During the school year, Standing With You and our Students for Life leaders ensured policy changes at 11 schools to support pregnant parenting students. We also connected 864 women on campuses to life-affirming help that we know of, and we hosted 941 Standing With You supportive events on campuses, saving at least 10 babies that we know of. In addition, our campaign for abortion-free cities, which exists to strategically end abortions in our cities by mobilizing Students for Life alumni, is now officially in 34 cities, with 12 more cities just getting started. This year, during our summer of service, our volunteers in key cities reached more than 2,100 of our neighbors, distributing $11,400 worth of free baby items. Way to go, Pro-Life Jen. You rock. Our Dimitri Institute for Pro-Life Advancement, our research arm, also had a great year too. I mean, for a research arm, like, wow, we did a lot. Our first big victory was this year's round of our Christian Schools Project, where our team once again investigated every Christian college in America, looking for connections with Planned Parenthood and the abortion industry. In 2024 alone, 12 Christian schools, after we exposed and pressured them, cut ties to the abortion industry after we made it known that they had a public relationship to Planned Parenthood. We are now up to 54 Christian schools that have ended their relationships with Planned Parenthood since we started the research project in 2021. Among other mission-critical research was our January YouGov poll of the pro-life generation, which we found that less than 1 in 10 young people actually agree with the Democratic Party's position on abortion whenever, wherever, and taxpayer funded. Not to mention, they're also not on board with the Democrats' no test, no care attitude towards chemical abortion pills. In fact, 64% of Gen Z and Gen Y voters we polled said they wanted abortion limits, which was a 10% increase from 2023. Findings like this continue to give us critical insight into how we must continue to turn the tide for life on campuses and in the media. It's pretty awesome. With so many victories, you would think it's time to pack up and go home. We can take a break, Pro-Life Gen 2025? Wrong. 2025 is going to be the year we have to push even harder. We now have a roadmap, and we released a public roadmap for what we must do to make America pro-life again. You're going to see a 1-2 punch this year on Capitol Hill, state capitals, and college campuses, fighting to debar and defund Planned Parenthood of the $700 million of our taxpayer dollars and curtail the insanity of the leading cause of infant death in our country, chemical abortion pills, which kill babies, harm mothers, empower sex abusers, and are poisoning our drinking water. Plus, we're going to have to get really active on Week on Life Republican political leaders who we know we've got to get replaced by true pro-life champions, because this is going to take the entire pro-life movement working together to accomplish. Plus, we're going to have to get active, ensuring Week on Life Republican political leaders are going to be replaced by pro-life champions. We've got to undo the evil of state abortion amendments by building up community pro-life activists. We have to ensure every mother in crisis knows where she can turn for nonviolent help. And we got to fight back harder than ever against discrimination and violence Students for Life groups face on our campuses, ensuring our 5-year goal of seeing a Students for Life group on every college campus is achieved. So those are our favorite wins of 2024 and a few marching orders for 2025. I couldn't keep the bossy completely out of it. And you got to see my 4 puppies throughout the show, so you're welcome. Thank you for tuning in to this special episode of Kristan Hawkins Show, and I hope you have a great new year, and we see you in 2025 at the National Pro-Life Summit and the National Pro-Life March in Washington, D.C.